Hello there, my dear friends. My name is Gunnar Clovis. I'm a game developer, and today I would like to play Cluttered Mind by my friend HAUO. I've played a couple games by HAUO so far. I'm gonna play all of them, like I do for pretty much every developer I feature. I want to play all their games. It just takes a really long time. HAUO is a wonderful artist. Made a lot of weekly Game Jam games, just different small indie games here on itch. Now he is making larger games as a part of Nickelbang. See if I can bring that up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Nickelbang. And they did a Global Game Jam game, although their main projects are a bit bigger and more complicated. Yeah, and you can read more about that here. Dio Light. Really like this visuals. HAUO is a fantastic artist, and you can see all this. Look, I love these concepts. Even it's so low poly and simple, but it looks awesome, right? It's very cool. Very kind of eldritch and creepy and Cthulhu-esque. And yeah, like look at that. Like what is that? It give me a lot of I don't know. It's very spindly. It's making me think of I can't think of his name. Nightmare Before Christmas and that creator, I'm spacing on his name, I'm sorry. And Half-Life as well. I don't know, that's making me think about Half-Life 2. And I always describe HAUO's work as kind of to me, it's like an ultimate mashup between Justin Roiland and Edmund McMillan, as I've said before. And yeah, look at this. It's very interesting. A lot of weird concepts. Very strange, and I love it. I really love that. Really love his design sense. And I wanted to play another game by HAUO because I love HAUO and I love all his games, but also because HAUO made my dreams come true. And did something very sweet, which I really appreciated, and made my first piece of fan art ever. So this is my first piece of silly YouTuber fan art ever, and it's just beautiful. I mean, look at that beautifully rendered face. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's a kind of HAUO signature brand of just a lot of weird, gross detail. But also it's simple. Like it's a very minimalistic color palette, which is perfect. It's just a few shades and just kind of splatches and ultimately very few lines, right? And yeah, it's just really nice, and I really love it, and I really appreciate it. I love this so much. And so yeah, I wanted to play one of the games that, at least as I recall, had a kind of similar vibe to it, which was Cluttered Mind. So this is a puzzle game playable in browser, like pretty much all of HAUO's games, which all of your games should always be playable in browser. All of your Game Jam games, that is, unless they're weird, they're a VR game or they're a phone, one of those games where everyone plays concurrently on their phone as controllers, or I don't know, it's a physical game or a card game or something. Unless it's one of those really kind of weird niches. If it's a normal video game, it should be playable in browser. That's just it. It should just always be playable in browser. HAUO did that, but also, yeah, didn't provide alternative downloads very often, which is actually kind of weird. Berry Hunt Bad Dimension has a Windows download, but that's like the only one. Yeah, well, it's the only game. All the other games are playable in browser only, which I do recommend. The main version should be a web browser one through HTML5 or WebGL in Unity, and that's great. But you also provide some downloads because the web browser makes it a lot more accessible, but it can be slower and can't have as great of performance. So having a download is also good too for certain people. You'll definitely get a lot less plays on download versions than you will in the browser versions, but it's important to have because it's like no more additional work, right? For a jam game of this kind of scale, at least. So Cluttered Mind, one leads to more. It's a puzzle game playable in browser. Has some creepy eyes, and again, the page is it's the completely default itch.io page. And this is one thing I give a lot of advice, and take my advice with a grain of salt. Like I also always say, it's a lot easier to I forget the exact quote, but it's easier to cast stones than to build towers or something like that. It's much easier to be a critic and review stuff and complain about stuff and point out stuff than to make art yourself, than to actually do something. It's a lot easier to talk about stuff than actually do it. So a lot of what I talk about, take it with a grain of salt, and I also don't expect the games that I review, I don't really expect them to be changed. Sometimes they are. Actually, almost all of the developers, all of the developers of this series through Itchy for Jim have been overwhelmingly positive with my feedback, which I'm always kind of scared about. I'm always scared I'm going to come off as too mean, because I'm very critical with myself, and so I feel like it bleeds over sometimes. And it's also, a little dependent on my mood. But yeah, I don't expect things to change. But this is one of the few things I kind of wish HAUO would change about his uploaded games, is just to edit the themes, because it's so little work. That's how a default page looks. But, I'll pick one at random. Here's a really bad game that I made in 3 hours. So here, this is not a good page. It's not good looking, but I think it's still better than the default. And that's just literally from hitting edit theme and then select some colors. And I just recommend copying the colors from your game, but Itch also provides some pretty good colors that you can use. You can use an online color palette generator like Coolers, and then even upload, here I have like this felt, this kind of ugly sky blue colored felt from the game. That's a game asset for the background, using it as the page background as well. It's no additional work. It's just a few clicks to set some colors. And I do wish everyone did this, because it's such little work, and I swear it adds a lot. It makes the games look a lot better and a lot more professional. But that hasn't really been HAUO's MO so far. It seems like that might have changed. I remember clicking on the Nakoban Global Game Jam game. I haven't played that yet because I'm going to play it for the show. And that seemed to have a very pretty page, if I briefly recall. But anyway. My Ludum Dare 42 submission, Theme Running Out of Space, a game that's more of a toy puzzle than a game, very short, and with a focus on a unique presentation. I love that. It's very succinct, but that perfectly describes this game. And controls mouse only, Ludum Link. This is a pretty perfect bio, actually. It's very short. It says everything I would want to know. It says the gym it's for, says the theme, that's important, says the controls, gives the important link, and gives a very brief description of the game. I tend to be way overly wordy. Who could have guessed with my game pages? But yeah, it's very nice. And so the only other thing that's not here is like credits. I'm pretty sure everything was just by HAUO. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But yeah. So this is tagged as Abstract Art Game Ludum Dare 42 Surreal. You can use a few more tags, go up to 10. I always recommend using all 10. Made with Unity, HTML5, perfect. Okay, so I run this. Now, the view size, we can fit it, but you see just with normal, using my scroll wheel, I don't know, it just seems a little awkward, and so I want to center it more, and so I kind of have to do that myself. Which is alright. I hope we can maximize it. Okay, it doesn't look like we can maximize it, which is unfortunate, but here, right off the bat, very intriguing. We have a nice color of red and this weird kind of movement, and the eye and the mouse, in this case in control, is always attracted to movement and contrast, and that's exactly what this is doing. And we have this very interesting kind of, I don't want to say ominous, but yeah, very strange background audio sound effect kind of deal going on. So I'll press this. So yeah, pressing it, so then pretty easy to figure out that I can drag it. And then yeah, a lot of feedback here. See how it grows bigger when you hover over? That's perfect. Always give as much feedback as possible. I click on it. There's not feedback for me clicking on it, but it just moves immediately with the slightest movement of my mouse, so it's fine. It's pretty clear what's happening. And I drag it around, and if I release it anywhere, it returns back, so pretty clearly I have to put it here. Yeah, nice sound effect. Okay, I'm actually going to shut up for this for a little bit, so you get a bunch of eyes, and I'll just kind of let you experience it a little bit more. Oh my goodness. Not sure what I need to do here, or if this is the end. I can pick up these eyes, so I feel like it isn't the end. Oh, okay, do that. Oh, it's so gross. I get this weird kind of, I don't know, it's brain-like? Ah! There we go. Ah, yeah, so that was Cluttered Mind. Really, it's so gross and great. I love it. Yeah, so you can see this is very, very HAUO. It's all about the artwork, but also has a great soundscape. This kind of just very simple ambient background audio is very interesting, very effective. Yeah, love that. And then the sound effects throughout, all the squelches and... Is there more? Can I make the sound effects? Yeah, I didn't think so. But yeah, when the fingers brushed against the little brain thing that flowered opened into the eye. Oh, it's like so gross, and there's like this crunch and squelch and ticks and stuff. It's very wet and fleshy and meaty and nasty, and it's great. It's so good. It just has a ton of personality. And it's a very strong usage of the theme running out of space, as you're just kind of layering on parts to this monstrosity. I really love this. This is just so great. And yeah, just a lot of, there's a lot of little stuff, like the little bit of motion. It's just a lot of very limited animation and kind of like pulsating, like a heartbeat or a muscle. And all of the eyes and the sclera and the veins and the folds and creases and muscles. It's it's so gross. It's so great. And I was very happy. I didn't remember, so I did not remember a single thing about how to play this game besides the general idea. But it's very clear to follow along. Like, I didn't really get stuck, right? I slowed down for a couple moments, but I was able to figure my way out. The game was very simple to interact with, and you can just kind of figure it out, which is great. I feel it has a really good game design in how it kind of guides the player, or has the set expectations for the player to go through at any particular point. And a lot of good game feel, actually. A lot of good UX in how everything reacted to the player, how every single thing, you know, I'd hover over the eyes. Even after those background eyes stopped being irrelevant, they would still kind of turn red a little bit. They'd fade from yellow to red as I hovered over. All those little tricks, which are very simple. It's mainly just kind of changing, tweening, scaling the size and color based on when the player mouse is over, and then all the sound effects as well. Just really great feedback to the player, great interactivity, pretty great game feel, actually. It's a very simple, short game, as it said. It's very toy puzzle-like. But I think this is great game feel. It's very clear. I really enjoy this. And yeah, I think this is a great piece overall. Really, like... And I was very happy that it had a finite end. Because if I just fully assembled the monster at the end like that, I could very much see, and I kind of expected to, because I didn't remember. I haven't played this game I left a comment, what was that? 7 months ago. Okay, that wasn't that long ago, but I scarcely remember. And so yeah, I was kind of thinking and dreading the idea that the game would just stop, that it would be finished, and then the monster would be fully assembled, and I could still kind of press buttons, and it would make sounds, and hover, and change color, and all that stuff. And I wouldn't know if I was done or not. I wouldn't know if there was another thing for me to do. So it's so great that there was just a very, like, you couldn't possibly be more clear in how it faded to black. Faded to black alone, I was like, okay, that's the end. That's like, no, fade to black, then, you know, make a bigger thing, repeat it, and then say the end overlaid. So yeah, it's very clear, said end, that, yeah, game is finished. You can stay around here and move the mouse around. There's a lot less feedback. I can't hover over the eyes or press stuff. But yeah, I can still kind of watch it, which is cool. It's a good reward. But it's very clear that the game is finished, so I'm not pressing buttons, trying to figure out how to progress when there is nothing more to progress to. It really sucks. When the player wants to play your game more and thinks there is more game, but there isn't, and you haven't explained that to them. You didn't inform the player very well that no, they finished the game, they can stop now and not waste their time trying to find something that doesn't exist, because that's really annoying. Trying to find a needle in a haystack that has no needles. That's really annoying. So yeah, that was Cluttered Mind by HAUO. And yeah, I really love this. Thank you again for the silly fan art, HAUO. I really loved it and really appreciated it. It means, I know it's super silly. It's not a big deal for you because you're a great artist and do art all the time, but it's a huge deal for me. It really does mean a lot for me personally. I really appreciated it. And yeah, I look forward to playing more of HAUO's games again and reviewing them here on the channel with the series Itchy for Jam, where I play your itch.io games and give kind of a feedback with a game developer's specific kind of mindset on how you might improve. And why I say this stuff, again, my word is not gospel, it's just advice. And it's a lot easier to give advice than to take it or, to perform it. I certainly don't do everything I say all of the time. I try to. I try to follow my own advice on my different games in the time that I have for them. But it's hard, and that's okay. It's just always be trying to improve, always be striving to get better, and just make more stuff. If you want to get better at games, here's the thing. People ask me all the time how to be a game developer. Oh, hey Gunnar, how do you be a game developer? I'll tell you how to be a game developer. You make games. That's it. You just go out there and you make games. You want to be a better game developer? Make more games. That's it. It's really not that complicated. Because if you make, let's say you made 10 games, like HAUO. I think HAUO has about, it's over 10. It's more like, it's closer to 20 probably. Let's count. 4 and 5. That's 5 times 3. So 17 games here, right? If I can count. I'm pretty sure that's 17, and excluding Cake Boy, which was never finished. And so yeah, if you made 10 games, and you're like, I wanna get better. How do I get better at making games? Well, okay, you can play games, you can study games, you can read some books if you want. I don't think reading books on games is the best way to go about it, because books are not games, but they can be useful, and I still recommend it. It's still good, but it's not the best thing to do. I think the best thing to do is just to play more games. No, I think that's a good thing to do, is play more games. Best thing to do is just to make more games, because if you made 10 games, you want to get better, make 10 more games. Because if you've made 20 games, 10 of those games are going to be better than the other 10, right? That's just how numbers work. That's just how stuff inherently works. If you've made 20 games, 10 of those games are going to be better than the other 10. So you're improving. You're making better games. That's how it happens. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you weren't too disturbed by the beauty that is this game. Please go out there and enjoy yourself. Do the things that matter. Love the things you try. Drink a cocktail. Wear a tie. I don't endorse drinking, actually. It's just a reference. My name is Gunnar. If you have an itch.io game you'd like me to play, please drop me a link in the comments. Or just write me a comment, actually. I'd really appreciate that. No matter who you are, what's going on. If you have anything to say about the game, I don't know. Just write me a comment. I like responding to the comments and hearing what's going on in your head, in your lives, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. Leave the world a better place. Every little day, try to do something good. Even just small things, just saying hi. You don't know how that's going to impact someone's day. I love it when someone's friendly to me that I didn't expect on my day. It's wonderful. You all know that's wonderful. And so be that person. Be that force of good out there in the world, improving it for everybody. And yeah, don't let bitterness and hate consume your heart. If be optimistic, assume the best of people. I think that's a really good policy. Always assume the best of people. And sometimes people will let you down, but I feel like most of the time they won't. And it's far, far worth it to be optimistic and to believe in people and to trust in people and to see the good in everyone. It's really worth it. Even when sometimes you get burned, the few times you get burned, they definitely do not even come close to outweighing the good and happiness and positivity of just letting that goodness and wellness consume your heart and your life. So that's the best thing I could say to you guys. And yeah, if you hear something, some crappy rumor about someone, maybe ask the other person's side of the story. That's an important thing to do. That's really sucks when stupid rumors get around. Rumors are bad. Don't spread rumors, guys. Just love each other and love yourself and love everyone, and go do some charity work. Even though it'll make you feel good about yourself, try not to fall into moral balancing. We give to charity because it's a selfish act, because it makes us feel good and makes us feel like we're better than other people that don't. That's just a scientifically true statement, and that's all right. It doesn't matter why you do something like charity or volunteer work, even though it's almost always, even if you won't admit to yourself, it's for selfish reasons, to feel good about yourself, for the endorphins it releases in your brain, or most likely to appear better to other people, to try and impress people and feel a sense of superiority and project that. And that's crappy, but it doesn't ultimately matter in the grand scheme of things. If you're helping people, you're helping people, and that's always a good thing. So yeah, go out, help others, help yourself too. That's also important. And yeah, do some exercise, do some push-ups. Be the person you're meant to be, and have a beautiful day. I love you. Goodbye.